Hi everybody, my name is Tom, and in this video we have a look at some trains in Mob of the Dead. The first spot is one that you probably know. It is in the cafeteria and we are just running around this garbage here, around the destroyed stuff in the middle in a clockwise manner. I run it clockwise because there is one spot that can get really tricky, and that is that spawn from the acid trap there. A lot of zombies come through that spawn, and we have to keep in mind that zombies can form lines that we cannot dodge, so there is like no gap between that zombie line that comes towards us, and we cannot go through that line. So what we have to do then is we have to do a cutback, and I think this works better when you run this thing here clockwise, because there is that optional spot that you can take. You see it there in the picture. And when you take that spawn, the zombies actually stick rather to that right side or to that inner side, and when you do the cutback, you can do an easy cutback when you then just dodge all the zombies on the outside. That is really easy to do, and I think that it makes it just a bit easier when running clockwise. Another advantage here is that the shield is right here. You should buy it, build it always in the cafeteria, because it's a very central spot. Even if you are not running here, you can reach the cafeteria very quickly from pretty much everywhere. Then there is the trap here, so if you are out of ammo, you can still use the tomahawk, but if you don't want to do that, you can use the trap here. There are actually specialized trap strategies here, but I do not want to talk about them because it would take too long here. So I just want to say there is the trap here, and you can use it if you want. Also, the MP5 is just very near here, so you can rebuy ammo if you want to use the MP5 as a wall gun. So it's overall a very cool area. It's also the most important area, especially because of that trap thing. And it's also very safe and quite easy to do. I like to be here. It's actually my favorite spot in Mob of the Dead. The second train is here on the roof. We are just running a circle around that structure here. You see the path in the video. Now, this train is actually very safe and very easy to do, although you have to do a cutback from time to time, and although there is some crazy dodging necessary sometimes, it is still very easy because you have a lot of space between that structure and between the outer bounds. There are also nice exits. If you just need to piss off, you can run towards the starting ramp, along the starting ramp there. That's no problem at all, and it's also perfectly flat, so the shooting is really cool here. You can do crazy headshots here. It's overall a very nice area, and I can highly recommend it. Our third spot is here at the docks. I'm pretty sure you already trained down here. It's a very nice area, although there is quite a lot of stuff to keep in mind. First of all, we have that zombie spawn from up there, so they jump down and suddenly face us. We just want to keep that in mind. That means we want to always behave like a zombie would just be at that landing spot right there. You can see it again in the picture. Just always dodge that spot, never run straight through it, because it could happen that a zombie would drop down just before you reach the spot, and then he blocks you, and maybe you get surrounded by zombies within like 1 second or a half a second when you just get blocked by that one zombie that dropped down there. So just always run around that landing spot, and when you do so, you go very close to that workbench, and then you do not see anymore what is coming out of the generator room, and this is pretty crappy. So it's not the best thing to train up here, although it's very cool to do. It's actually a very nice train. It's not the best train. So what I would rather do is maybe just switch the little area here. We have that little boxes here or whatever that is. We just go one area lower, so you see where I just trained right there. I just use that little spot right here. and do my circle right here. This works too. We have then only 2 spawn points. That means the zombies only come from 2 sides. They then form a bit crazy spawns. They come in like crazy, like 12 from one side, 12 from the other. That is a lot of zombies, but it works. And the best thing is, of course, when you just combine the whole thing here. So when you run from the Thompson up to the workbench and then back down again, you just want to lead the zombies always behind those boxes. So you just go behind the box, lead them all to the, let's call it just to the inner side of that box, and when you turn around you can dodge again to the outer side. So you see it in the picture what I mean. It's probably easier when you just see what the picture tells you instead of you hear my stumbling words here. So it's a very nice area, the docks, although it gets dangerous. There is one additional thing to keep in mind. Never go to the box unless you have only a very few zombies, so maybe in co-op you can do it. But the box there is kind of a death trap because it's very narrow there, and it is hard when the whole train is coming towards you at the box. You cannot dodge a full train there. It sometimes may work though, but in general it is not working, and therefore you should not go to the box, especially when there is a fire sale. Do not go to the box if you wanna continue your game and not die. Our next train is here in the showers. This one is working, even in solo it's working pretty well, but it's not the easiest one and it's neither the safest one. We have a limited view here because we have all those sheets hanging from the roof. That is pretty crappy. We always have to run that left, right, that zigzag, and zombies are coming sometimes a bit crazy down the stairs, especially when we are right there. It is not a really good train, but it's still a kind of important. First of all, we have to do it when we do this washing machine event, and in co-op you may run here because it is, as said, again, very close to the shield. The cafeteria is just up there, and if your teammate is at the cafeteria, you can revive him quite easily here because you are that close. It is just, as said, not the safest one due to that limited view, and you kind of have to guess where the zombies will come from, but just keep in mind the zombies kind of stay always to the inner side when we run around some kind of structure. And here again you can like run behind one of those sheets, lead all the zombies towards you, then run behind the next one, just lead them into that zigzag. That makes it a bit easier to manage the whole situation here, because you enlarge your path kind of artificially. You make it a little bit longer, your path, and you go a little bit slower. It means you have to do less turns until you get the max train and so on. It's kind of hard to tell what exactly to do here. You just adjust your movement towards the situation depending on how many zombies are coming to you. I would actually not do cutbacks here unless it's anyway, unless you have anyway no chance when not doing it, but I guess it's not really working well in here. So it's a cool train, it works well, and not the safest one. That is pretty much what you have to keep in mind about it. Train number 5 is here on the bridge. That is definitely the easiest train ever. The problem here is just that we have those boss zombies that spawn and that we do not get any power-ups except from the first Brutus that we kill. Then the Brutus of course makes that smoke here, and what I did not do here is simply avoid that smoke by leading Brutus somewhere where you do not run your train towards the electric chairs or towards the other side, and just cut his helmet off right there instead of the middle of the area where you run your train. So you can see that in the starting strategy video that I will upload in a few days. It's the long one where I just show a full gameplay, I think. You see there, I just leave Brutus somewhere towards the chairs, throw the tomahawk at him, he makes a smoke, and the smoke is not disturbing me at all. Then the zombies spawn in a bit of crazy manner here. They only spawn from like one side, and that makes them forming a bit tricky lines, but you can do easy cutbacks here. absolutely easy. And then the last point you have to keep in mind here is that the Pack-a-Punch machine is forming some kind of corner, and like every second guy that I see dying here is dying because he is kind of stuck in the Pack-a-Punch machine, so just keep that in mind. And then this is a super easy area here, and I can highly recommend it for like 1 or 2 rounds. Here we are on top of the spiral stairs, and this is basically my personal favorite train. First of all, there are no other players doing that train, so you don't have to fight with them about the spot, and it is kind of easy to do that. It's pretty safe. It's also a very compact train. It is pretty small, therefore the zombies are very close together and you have a lot of control over them. And yeah, it's a very cool train. I like it a lot. There are just 2 things to keep in mind. First of all, when you make your train too big towards that afterlife station, you gotta keep in mind that there is that spawn out of the ground, zombie spawn out of the ground there. And you just wanna walk then behind that off the ground spawn. And when you do that, you do not see what is coming downstairs from the box location. So it's basically what we had at the docks. Remember we had that landing spot of zombies there near the workbench, so we ran around that landing spot of the zombies, and then we did not see anymore what is coming out of the generator room. And here it's exactly the same. We have that out of the ground spawn, so we walk behind it, then we do not see what is coming downstairs. And this sometimes is a problem here. We can get trapped because of that, and therefore we just wanna kind of shorten our path here. This is something we can do here, but not at the docks, because here it's a bit bigger. The whole area here is a bit bigger than that first spot there at the docks. So that means you just shorten our path, as you can see it in the video or in the picture, and when you do so, it doesn't matter what is spawning out of the ground there and what is coming out of that door, and you want to only do that enlarged path when you have no other choice. And the second thing is you do not want to walk too far down there, because the area is a spiral thing here, and that means the more you go down, the more the zombies kind of tend to go to the left. My voice is going. And the more you go down, the more you go to the left, because the thing is spiral, the more the zombies go to the left, and then when you turn around, you might not have enough space anymore to dodge your full train, as you can see it in this little cut here. So just do not do that. Keep the train really small, keep it as small as you can, and then you have no problems up here. And that's a really cool one, a nice one. I like it a lot. Maybe you want to check it out. Now, instead of running up there, we can of course also use a spot a little bit more down here. There are again a lot of those spots here. Just each one is like separated by one of those doors here, but you can basically run everywhere here. And you can of course also combine multiple of those little boxes here, or whatever we want to call those little areas here. So you see, I'm just using one now, and it actually works. But it is a bit crazy in solo, so I would rather do that than in multiplayer. But here I just got kind of lucky. And now you see me just going a little bit more down and then back up and so on. And you just have to keep in mind here, the thing is spiral. That means the zombies kind of always wanna be at the inner side of the whole area. But because of that, doorways are not at the most inner side, and they kind of stay to the middle. We can say they stick to the middle, but you still have enough space on the outside to dodge a full train. So just keep it cool here. You see it very well. You can dodge everything on the outside, and then you go through one of those door things and lead the zombies, especially then very close to the inner side, turn around, dodge everything to the outside. And you do that over and over, and then this whole thing here works really great. Now the next area is back at the cafeteria, but now we are just outside where the MP5 is instead of inside. The basic circle is some kind of Yeah, it's just a circle actually, but you can extend that circle to wherever you want. You can extend it towards that spot where your MP5 is, or towards that spot where you get the double points behind the cell door, or actually in the cell. Or you can also go down here, and when we do that, when we actually go just right here, we have a very interesting phenomenon, and that is that a lot of zombies actually go upstairs and wanna then jump down again. So that makes it to a very bad shooting point, because you get only like 5 zombies directly coming to you, and all the rest will run up the stairs. Always when you go in one of those narrow spots here, let's say towards the cell where the double points is, always make sure you lead all zombies to one side, like let's say to the right side or so, and then you all dodge all of them to the left side. And keep in mind not to go too crazy as long as they spawn, because they jump down here from everywhere. They jump down from straight up ahead, right here, right there, where the double point is, near the MP5 there. And that's a bit cheaty, because you don't see zombies that jump down early enough. So just keep the train as basic as you can, because then you basically avoid all those drop downs more or less. And yeah, you can guess when you come out here with the max train and then go back to the cafeteria and then turn on the trap, this might work really well. So the trap strategy, it's just to mention it quickly, it's actually gather the train in the cafeteria, then come out here with your max train, organize them out here, then go back in, turn on the trap, and then collect the next train inside the cafeteria again. So that is actually why this train comes in very important. Now here we are in the generator room, and this train is pretty crazy actually, but very easy surprisingly. The area is quite narrow, and we can think that we have like spots where we cannot dodge zombies, but when you have a closer look at the area, you can basically dodge up to like 2, maybe even 3 zombies that are running next to each other easily, and this everywhere here. And this is what makes this area pretty easy to handle. So it's not the best for solo, and you can always get killed here, but in co-op this is a really easy train. Although you have to keep in mind in the docks is some area that that just has crazy spawns, so even in co-op you get the most zombies here out of all players. But yeah, this is cool, it gives you a lot of points. Just try the area out, it is not a difficult one. You even have space for a cutback in here, maybe not here at the upper side where the generators are, but at the side right here where there are no generators, you can do it. And the shooting is going really cool here. Maybe not with the guns I use, but with a bullet gun this goes really well here. And yeah, it's a nice area, it's a cool area to run a train actually, so don't be afraid of it just because it looks a little bit small. We also have like this middle spot there, this middle gap where we can actually run through. That works also pretty well, so it's a nice area, it's a cool area, and I like it. Alright, the next areas that I want to show you are in co-op. This is just because they get like too crazy when you do them in solo. So the first one is here in the Warden's office. The Warden's office is very narrow, it's a very small area, but you can actually handle it. You have quite a nice overview here. You can always see when zombies are coming to you from that Blundergat table. You can see when zombies are crawling out of that window right there, and you also have a nice look out to the cell block at pretty much all times, except when you turn your back towards the exit. That's pretty obvious, but you can see when a zombie is coming there, and you can just adjust your path, make it a bit smaller, a bit larger or whatever. Wait a second until the zombie has come out of that window so that you can then dodge it or run a bit faster, whatever. And this is what makes this area actually working pretty well. The Uzi is here, so when you use a wall gun, especially in the earlier rounds, you can refill it at any time. The train is also interesting maybe when you do a grief game or so, I don't know, could be interesting. Maybe not that much, but yeah, it's a nice train overall. We also have the fan trap right here in case you want to use it. And by the way, when you do a solo game and when you want to rebuy your speed reload, And you can just come in here and turn the fan trap on, and then it's like you removed one spawn point, and the zombies will then only come out of that window and from the blundergate area there. And this is then actually not too difficult to handle, because you also do not get too many zombies at a time, because a lot are still spawning from the outside, running into the trap, instantly getting killed, and then respawn maybe again from the outside, but maybe also from the inside, and that makes it just a little bit cooler, so not that many zombies spawn at a time to you. Alright, and now we are back at the roof. Well, we find some kind of little areas here again that look like we could do trains in here. Now the problem is that we just have only 2 spawn points here, and the zombies really come in lines here. That means when we do that in solo, we just get one big line of zombies and we have like no chance of dodging it. Then we try a cutback, and then the line that comes from the other side is kind of catching us. So this is like a pointless here when you do that in solo. But when you do it in co-op, you just notice that way less zombies spawns, makes it very easy. Now I just do a circle here. I want to do that clockwise again, because then I have a good view to those spawn points, and see very well what is actually coming to me, and then I just hope that this actually works well. Now I'm just going to the next area. This is right here. It's pretty similar. Here we have like one spawn point from there, one from there, and now we have one spawn point where they crawl out of up the roof actually. And it works really well in multiplayer, but not in a solo. I'm going counterclockwise now this time, and yeah, just run the train, gather the zombies up until I have like 10 or so. And what I like to do for shooting is go a little bit further away, because the areas are really small, so it's maybe not the best ones for a cool headshot. So I just go a little bit further away so the zombies form a line, and then I shoot them there. Now you saw me already going to the next area, and now my teammate is shooting a little bit with his vitrolic withering, messing the thing a bit, but this is actually a nice example. Now when you do that in co-op and multiple players are up here, it is like the other player is now like removing that spawn point he is watching, so no zombies will come to me from that spot, because he kills everybody that is coming from there. We could see that maybe a bit better when he wouldn't use his vitrolic withering like that, but now we just see it like that. So there's basically then only one spawn point remaining, and when you kind of send all 4 players up here, you can make this whole thing here very easy. Actually never tried it, but I imagine it should work somehow. Well, yeah, those are some trains you can do in co-op. Maybe you want to have a look at them, and we go to the next one. Alright, and the next train is again one that I like quite a lot, because when you do that in a public co-op game, people come here to you, or they just want to run through here, they ask you, what the fuck are you doing here? Then you just say, very cool, I'm doing a train here. And they just think you are some kind of crazy, or you have no clue of how to play the game. But the thing here is that this train, this is in the Citadel Tunnels, actually just when you walk down from Warden's office, you are directly in that room right here. This train is actually very easy when you do it in a 2 or 3 or 4 player game. Might get a bit crazy in a 2 player though, but definitely works in a 3 player game or more. It's flat here, the shooting goes really well, and you do not get that many zombies here normally, but it always depends where the other player is. And whenever I see, or whenever it looks that no zombies are spawning for a second, I try to kill my train here, just go for headshots, and then this works really well here. As said, I like the area just because it is so simple here. It's like a rectangle and very flat, and I like this. We have to keep in mind one thing, and that is that I don't know what it is, a chair or so, maybe a table, and that one forms actually a corner, so do not run into that one. Or is it a shelf actually? I do not see it. I do not wear my glasses, so I don't see shit. I only see the general thing that is happening. Alright, so check it out in multiplayer. It is really fun here, and we can go to the next train. The second last circle is here back in the shower, but this time we do not run where all those sheets are. We run directly in this washing machine room here behind the fence only. And the special thing about this one is that we have only one spawn point through the door there. And this was making it to a pretty funny thing here. It's actually more a fun circle than a serious one. But what we do is we just run a half circle, as you can see it in the video, and the zombies then just come to us, and when we collected like 10 or so, we shoot them. Just take note, we are now always in co-op since the first area in the Warden's office that I showed in co-op. Those are all done in co-op because they are just too crazy in solo. This one especially, you cannot do that in solo forever because the area is just not big enough for 24 zombies. When you try it, you notice they just spread out because there is not enough space here for 24 zombies, so they spread out, and then you actually can't dodge that full train anymore. You already see it here. It's getting really tricky when I get like 12 zombies or more. So even in 2-player, this one is pretty dangerous and pretty tricky here. Especially when you do not have the shield, you should never do tricky trains without the shield. Actually, you should do not a single train without the shield, because it is just an additional safety and makes the whole thing way easier. You also want to always have the vitrolic withering, because you know, when you get trapped and cornered and surrounded by zombies, you can simply use it and then free yourself. Especially with the electric cherry, it's like you shoot, all those zombies run towards that green stuff, and then you reload, all the zombies are stunned, and you are then just basically invincible in this map. So just make sure always have the shield, as long as you got our zombies up, have the vitrolic withering out, and yeah. Electric cherry then, and you are basically good in this map. Right, so yeah, there's actually not much more to say about that train. As said, only in co-op, walk that half circle, and do not forget to shoot, because you do not want to get too many zombies here. Always shoot and shoot and shoot again. And yeah, it's like more a fun one, just keep that in mind. It's not, this is not meant 100% serious here. Alright, there we go. Now this is the last circle finally, and this one is really crazy. What I'm doing here is I'm walking only at this side here on the bridge where the electric seats are. This is really bullshit here, because the other guy is shooting with the vitrolic withering all the time, kinda just completely messing my train, and it feels like I got every slow zombie that is on the map, and they block me like shit here. So you see there the zombies walk crazy paths. But when you do a 4-player, and maybe when the other guys are not having the vitrolic withering yet, this actually works not too bad here. Although if it's 2-player or 4-player doesn't really matter, because you have like 2 spawn points here, and all the zombies of those 2 spawn points will come to you. Important is just when you do that, use the area very close to the electric chair, so walk up the stairs and use that spot, because you need the space that you gain when you use that. It's a crazy one, but you can do it. You know, sometimes it's a bit annoying on the bridge, there are just too many players and you don't get your kills, so you can go up here. Here you get enough zombies, definitely, and it's just dangerous like shit, so only do it when you have the shield, and as just said before, you may want to have the vitrolic withering, or when you are in the tomahawk only period. Yeah, just be careful like shit. I would not run only at the other side of the bridge, because no zombies spawn from there. Could have happened that I forgot to mention that. At the other end of the bridge, no zombies spawn, so this is then rather kind of a camping spot where you camp and the other guy is running in the center, and then you throw your tomahawk towards the middle. You can of course combine those areas here. That means we have one area near the electric chair, then the area in the middle, and then the area on the other end of the bridge. And you can of course, for example, start a circle in the middle and then go towards that camping spot, go back in the middle, go again to the camping spot, then maybe around to the electric chair, and then go back again, and so on. You just have to keep in mind there is one very narrow spot, especially here when you go up to the electric chair area. Never run through that. That is just crazy. Alright, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you had some fun. And as long, have fun. See ya. Bye.